Live from KPRC, this is Channel 2 News at 10.
Breaking now, a mother shoots her own daughters. One killed, one injured. How police finally stopped the violence. Plus, child sex charges. One of the accused, a former reserve deputy. The other, his common-law wife.
I'm going to prove myself innocent. That's all I can say. I didn't do anything wrong.
What else she told us about her role in the crime. And later, a violent arrest caught on camera.
What?
Why this family says Rosenberg police went way too far. But we begin tonight with that breaking news alert. A mother shoots her two daughters, killing one of them. I'm Bill Baessa.
And I'm Sarah Donchi in for Dominique. Deputies tell us when they found the mother, she was still holding the gun, so they had no choice but to shoot her.
This happened near Fulshire off Fry Road near FM 1463.
Kathy Hernandez has been speaking with investigators and neighbors. She's joining us now live. Kathy.
Good evening, Sarah. We know paramedics flew the surviving daughter to the hospital in critical condition. Deputies say they had been here to this house before in the past, and neighbors say they believe the parents were having marital issues.
I don't know, they were just a nice, typical family like you would see in the suburbs.
Now, that family's at the center of a terrible tragedy.
We have a mother that appears to have went out and shot her two children, with one of them being deceased and the other one was flown downtown.
Investigators say when officers arrived to the home on Remsen Hollow Friday, the two daughters were lying in the street. They say the mother was still holding a gun.
The one Fulshire police officer engaged her, firing one round, striking her and killing her.
Investigators say her husband, the father of the victims, was inside the home physically unharmed, but paramedics still took him to the hospital.
He was going through a very difficult time. I mean, here it is, he's a father and the mother, you know, your wife doing something like that to your children.
And that's what people in this Katy neighborhood are trying to comprehend.
The mother was nice. Like, you wouldn't expect it if they told you this is what's going to happen. I don't think anybody, at least a sane person, would do that.
And deputies have not yet released the victims' names or ages. Reporting live in Katy, Kathy Hernandez, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Sad story, Kathy. Thank you. Disturbing developments tonight in a story we broke at 5 o'clock. A former reserve deputy charged with sexual assault of a child. Investigators say Charles Walker and his wife, Veronica Trevino, set up a threesome with a 15-year-old. Jonathan Martinez spoke with Trevino and joins us live now. Jonathan, I understand she's denying involvement now.
Yeah, Bill, she's saying she is innocent. Authorities tell us that the alleged crime happened in October of last year, but they only recently found out about it. And now Deer Park Police is investigating. A husband and wife, meantime, are now facing both felony charges.
I was forced to be in that room, or either he was going to do something to me or my daughter.
Through an open front door where the alleged crime against an underage child happened, Veronica Trevino says she's innocent of what she's been charged of, sexual performance of a child.
I didn't want to do anything. He's got a crazy lifestyle. That's his lifestyle that he lives, not mine.
Trevino and her husband, former Reserve Harris County Sheriff's Deputy Charles Walker, were both arrested. He's now charged with sexual assault of a child under 17. According to a probable cause report, following a disturbance at their home, Trevino told officers Walker had sex with the 15-year-old. Walker later told police he and Trevino had a swinging lifestyle and she would arrange sex with other people. The document states Trevino admitted to police she set up a threesome with the alleged victim, but claims she didn't know she was underage at the time.
Did you arrange for a threesome between you and the underage girl?
No, it didn't happen like that. It did not just happen like that, no.
And how did it happen?
I'd rather not say.
Investigators say the child was actually 14 years old at the time of the alleged crime and she was a runaway. Trevino claims after she found out the alleged victim's real age, she told Walker and says she's innocent.
And what is the truth?
The truth is Charles did it all.
And you had no knowledge?
I'm not going to answer any more questions.
Both Trevino and Walker out of jail on bond awaiting their next court date. The case remains ongoing and under investigation. We are reporting live tonight from Deer Park. I'm Jonathan Martinez, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
New at 10 o'clock, a search warrant reveals how a former United pilot allegedly ran his brothels. The warrant focuses on a suite inside a Houston business building. That is where Bruce Wallace conducted his business. According to the warrant, there was a drop box for women to drop their so-called rent money, and inside the suite is where clients would get massages. They'd start at $100 for a half hour, and if the client wanted more, they paid more. Wallace is charged with aggravated promotion of prostitution.
And tonight, the man who tried to abduct a little girl is on the run. Pasadena police say he broke into a family's second-floor apartment a little before 3 o'clock in the morning. That's when the family says the man grabbed a 9-year-old inside and tried to take off with her. But police say the little girl fought and screamed. She managed to run back inside. Police are still investigating.
A big weekend for Houston's LGBT community. The Pride Parade is tomorrow downtown. It is the second largest parade in the city, with a route stretching from Lamar and Smith to Milam and Jefferson. Jace Larson is near Montrose. And Jace, so we know there are some security concerns, but it sounds like people are still excited about this.
Yeah, you know, the celebration right now is well underway. More people are showing up here every few minutes to F-Bar, one of the most popular bars in the Houston area. And as you mentioned, tomorrow the events will move from here in Montrose, where they are tonight, to downtown Houston. More than 500,000 people are expected for tomorrow night's parade, and HPD has changed a lot in the last 2 weeks.
After the Orlando incident, everybody's really come together to make it safe.
Houston police officer Ann Waltman is coordinating safety at the Daytime Festival, which is going to have a special kids section. This year, she'll have double the police officers during the daytime event, and you can expect an officer every half block for the parade.
We want the community to know that the police department in itself, and we're excited about that, have stepped up to try to make it safe and a fun time for everybody.
Crews started shutting down streets near City Hall about 7 p.m. tonight.
I'm from Denver, Colorado.
Matt Gurton flew in just for the Pride festivities. The parade draws people from all over, and that means an economic boost for our city.
I'm not worried at all. I think that, you know, with the safety measures that are in place, I think we're under a good watchful eye.
He will be one of the 500,000 enjoying our city's show of diversity. If people are a little unsure about coming down tomorrow, you would say, come.
Come, have a good time, we're ready.
Now the Pride Parade begins tomorrow night at about 8:30, and remember, it's in downtown Houston, the second year that they've done it in downtown. For many years it was right here in Montrose, but they had to move it. One of the reasons, safety. We're live in Montrose. Jace Larson, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Thank you, Jace. Aside from Houston Pride Parade congestion downtown, there are several other weekend traffic alerts we want to tell you about. One of the biggest construction projects and one of the biggest headaches, 290 inbound, shut down completely between 529 and Little York. That doesn't wrap up until noon on Sunday. And we have a big road closure on the Hardy, working in both directions between 45 and 1960, lasts until 5 o'clock Monday morning. Also, 3 southbound lanes of 59 will be blocked from Tidwell to Laura Coffey until Monday morning at 5 as well.
A big night on the road to Rio as Olympic hopefuls compete for a chance in the summer games.
And as it turns out, the road to Rio goes right through St. Louis and Indianapolis this weekend. We have sports director Randy McElvoy covering the gymnastics trials. Andy Sirota, the diving trials.
Yeah, he spoke with competitors about what it took to get this far and joins us live now from Indianapolis. Andy, good evening.
Sarah, Bill, good evening to the both of you. Some big news coming out of Indianapolis tonight. A second spot has been awarded to the USA diving team in the women's 3-meter. That means 2 divers, 2 women, will become part of the U.S. Olympic team. Cassidy Cook is poised to secure one of those spots, and her biggest... With 48 hours to go until the women's 3-meter finals, for Cassidy Cook, today's practice was more about performance than technique. And behind this Olympic hopeful,
I will be a nervous wreck on Sunday because I know how much she wants this,
is a mom with the same fears, hopes, and dreams that all moms have for their kids. Laura Cook knows how hard her daughter has worked and what Cassidy has sacrificed to get to this point. She's been with her every step of this journey on the road to Rio.
It just makes us so proud and so happy, and we're very, very proud of her.
The rest of the gang, which includes her dad, 5 siblings, and 2 brother-in-laws, arrive in Indy tomorrow. There's something you should know about Laura when she watches her daughter compete.
I have this big iPad and I'll put it in front of my face and I'll watch her on that screen.
She thought she could break that habit, but when she watched Cassidy dive without the iPad, Laura says her daughter didn't do so well. Either way, it doesn't change how Cassidy feels about her mother. She calls her her rock.
That makes me feel great, and that's what I want to be. Ooh, shouldn't have told me that again.
This journey for the Cooks has had its peaks and valleys. Sometimes even the biggest cheerleaders need to have someone in their corner. Laura knows she has that in all of you.
Thank you, Houston. Appreciate everything you've done for her and all the messages and the love. The outpouring of love has been outstanding. Thank you.
And a big day ahead here in Indianapolis tomorrow. Several Texas athletes will be competing in the men's 3-meter final and the women's 10-meter finals. Live in Indianapolis tonight, Andy Sirota, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Looking forward to the results, Andy. Thanks a lot.
All right, now let's send it out to Randy in St. Louis. Hey, Randy.
Hey guys, yeah, it's an off night for the men's Olympic trials, but the women were on the floor tonight. Their national championships, and I can tell you it was a great night for Houston's own Simone Biles. We'll tell you how she did. We'll also catch up with her parents coming up in sports.
Well, you can dive through the air, or at least swim through it right now. It is muggy out there. It's going to be that way all weekend, hot and humid. A few cooling showers. I'll time all of those out for you straight ahead in weather.
Plus, Gulf Coast oysters nearly non-existent in Galveston Bay.
It's pretty sad to go out there and pull up a dredge and more than half of the dredge is dead oysters.
The push to help oyster farmers recover from a devastating harvest and what it means for fans of the favorite seafood.
But first, take a look at this. Is this a justified takedown or excessive force? The arrest video that has a family crying foul. Coming up next on Channel 2 News at 10.
We're back with cell phone video that's now part of a Rosenberg police lawsuit. The couple in the video, Christine Sines and her husband, allege police used excessive force.
Dad, chill out! Dad, chill out!
They say police pulled them out of their truck after a family argument. You could see police slam them to the ground and punch the two of them. The couple did face felony and public assault to a servant charges, but they have since been dropped. We reached out to Rosenberg police for a comment, but have not heard back.
Tonight, the world is still reeling from Great Britain's decision to leave the European Union. Those aftershocks felt hard on Wall Street today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed down more than 611 points. That's the worst day the market's seen in 5 years. And as global markets nosedive, so does the financial confidence of Houstonians. But experts say 401ks might take a hit if they're tied to foreign investments, with international stocks taking the brunt of that. But the financial advisors we spoke with today are cautioning investors not to panic and not to sell. Better, they say, to stay the course. While the volatility is expected to remain high for some time, the world economy is essentially sound.
Channel 2 has learned a request to help struggling oyster farmers on the Texas coast is awaiting review in Austin. The Galveston County judge signed a disaster declaration last week after floodwaters devastated the oyster harvest there. It's now in the hands of the state's Office of Emergency Management. This year's oyster harvest is almost non-existent after weeks of heavy rain sent fresh water flooding into Galveston Bay. As Channel 2's Robert Arnold explains, local businesses are struggling to salvage what they can.
2 months of relentless rain and flooding has taken its toll on local families, their homes, and their businesses.
My mother and father started it. They started out as deckhands on a boat, kind of worked their way up from the bottom, you know, the American dream.
Just ask Roz Halili of Prestige Oysters in San Leon. It's been a Galveston County institution for decades. Now one of the largest oyster companies in the country, Prestige, is dealing with an economic and environmental disaster.
Last year we lost half a crop, but this year it was relentless.
The fresh water flowing from flooded rivers and streams made its way down to Galveston Bay, basically pushing out the salt water.
Too much fresh water will kill an oyster. And that's what we're seeing out there. We're seeing loss in some of our reefs, 50 to 85% mortality loss.
It's very, very painful for them.
Galveston County Judge Mark Henry declared a disaster after taking a tour of the bay with Roz and his team at Prestige.
They pulled up, the oysters were all dead upon being pulled into the boat.
A large portion of the state's $30 million oyster industry is located right here, so Judge Henry is asking the state and federal government for money to help.
This is as bad as it would get, I would think. You've got nothing that you can harvest and sell in the Galveston Bay at the moment.
Lines of boats sit idle. There's no point in sending them out.
It's really sad for the oystermen out here in Texas because they don't get to work, you know. It's tough for these boat captains.
Prestige is managing to keep its employees busy. The company is harvesting oysters from Louisiana and processing them at their facility. They'll ship them to seafood companies and restaurants like State of Grace in River Oaks.
We like to really emphasize Gulf oysters and promote them. And with the lack of oysters from Louisiana down through Texas, it limits our ability to do that.
The good news for consumers right now, suppliers and restaurants don't plan on raising prices.
I haven't seen an effect in Gulf oyster prices or East Coast oyster prices.
Judge Henry hopes grant money will help the industry in Galveston recover.
Oystermen in general, we're all resilient people. It's an industry that we bounce back from hurricanes, from oil spills, from Mother Nature.
The waters of Galveston Bay will reopen next week for oyster harvesting, and you can read a copy of the county's disaster declaration in the consumer section of click2houston.com. Robert Arnold, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Is it Saturday yet? Almost, right?
We're right there. We're just right on the brink of it. Frank's going to get us through to the end.
That's right. That's right. You know, you remember the drought, there was way too much salt water. Then the floods, too much fresh water.
We can't win.
I know. We got to take care of our bay, right? It's just a subtle reminder from your friendly climate meteorologist here. There's a look. Beautiful Galveston sunset. Look at that one from Bush Intercontinental Airport. This from Katie. Love the flag in the foreground there. It's a big bird. I don't know what kind of bird. That's a big bird right there. And this from Livingston right across the lake. Beautiful shot from Bill Brewster. Thanks very much for all the storm pins. It looks to be a beautiful weekend that's shaping up. Exact radar sees a few showers right there at the coast. We'll talk about that in a moment. Speaking of the coast, Galveston's looking great right now. Temperature is 83, but it still feels like 92. It's muggy out there. If you're headed down to the beach for the weekend, 20% chance for a shower Saturday, 10% on Sunday, and a lot going on. The Passport to Post Office District, you buy a passport and everybody fills it out and you try to get a prize out of it. So that's something new and fun. In the meantime, Memorial City, it's 81. That feels like 86. Temperatures all across the board. Almost everybody in the 80s, a couple of upper 70s, humidity 89, 98, 79%. You see the story there. And so it feels a little muggy out there. The southeast winds continue 5, 6, 7, 8 miles an hour. So that's going to continue. Here's the whole setup. There's what we have going on right now. You'll notice these few showers right there along the coast. So we can't rule that out as we go into the overnight. That continues. And then as we go into tomorrow afternoon, that's 2 o'clock. Few showers, maybe a thunderstorm or two. What's interesting is it pushes north pretty quickly. By the time we get to the evening hours, it's quiet out there. So if you're headed downtown for the parade, you should be in great shape. Sunday, even fewer showers, just a 20% chance then. The water vapor loop here, you can see all of this dark color here, that's the dry air, and it's battling the more moist air coming in off the Gulf. This low in Mexico is continuing to spin. There's a weaker lobe here. That's going to follow into Mexico as well. As it does, that's what's pushing that moisture in here for tomorrow. Then it'll really weaken as we go into Sunday and Monday. So that's going to be the setup through the weekend. Now, what's interesting is next week as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, a low from the Great Lakes is going to move toward the Virginias, and that drops in a backdoor front. Not a cold front that's really going to come through. It'll fall apart across the area. That ups the chances of rain, though, as we move into midweek next week to about 40%. Power planner for tomorrow, not much chance of rain, 30% in the afternoon. Temperatures right up there in the upper 80s and the low 90s. Bad hair days all the way through. If you're headed downtown, noon, 90 degrees already, 94 at 3, 90 at 6, 85 during the parade in the evening, but at least the sun will be down for the most part. It'll feel a lot more comfortable. So 30% chance for Saturday, goes to 20 for Sunday, starts to come back up to 40 Tuesday and Wednesday because of that front that falls apart. 30% into the weekend, July 4th weekend. Can you believe we're already talking about July 4th in that 10-day forecast? 20, 30% chances. A typical summertime pattern for the most part, with the exception of that little front that's going to move in next week. But it's not going to really move in and move through. It'll move in and fall apart. Wow. Yeah, like a bad relationship.
We were just talking about that.
Oh boy, let's keep it going, Bill.
Your next Uber ride won't involve any guesswork. The company is rolling out upfront fares for UberX rides. Instead of providing an estimate of your fare, you're going to get the exact price before you actually request the ride. The change might make surge pricing more difficult to understand because instead of showing the multiplier or the lightning bolt, it's just going to show the higher fare. In the near future, Uber also plans to roll out the ability to select rides in advance. That'll
All
be
right.
nice.
Yeah, definitely. Adam Wexler on the sports desk tonight. All right, everybody's talking about Simone Biles, obviously.
Absolutely, and the word to use is wow once again. She was absolutely sensational out there in St. Louis. Sports director Randy McIlvoy is out there, and he will tell us exactly how she made it all happen again, proving she's the best in the world. And the Astros, they're out in Kansas City tonight. Why are they so fired up? And why is George Springer getting all wet? We'll tell you about it coming up in sports. Big news for the U.S. diving team as they were awarded a second spot in the 3-meter. As you heard from Andy Sirota earlier, those 2 spots will be earned on Sunday. And of course, the women's Cassidy Cook is currently in first place. Now tonight in St. Louis, the women's gymnasts were the featured attraction, and that means Simone Biles on display. Sports director Randy McIlvoy is live in St. Louis with much more. Randy?
Hey, Wex, Simone Biles, #1 gymnast in the world. Many feel she's the best in history, and she simply put on a clinic tonight in the first round of the national championships here in St. Louis. Take a look at some of the video now. Determining the national champion, Biles was nearly flawless, open with a solid 15.7 on her vault, first event of the night. Best event of the night was her floor routine, where she was basically nearly perfect. 16.1 was her score, 16 on the vault as well, and that was the story of the night, as she has the all-around lead right now so far going into Sunday's finale, looking for her 4th straight national title. Tonight I caught up with her parents, who are excited about watching her perform.
I know in 2 weeks, then we go to trial, so it is getting closer.
But you think you're still relaxed right now?
I'm still relaxed. I'm still relaxed. It's not affecting me yet. Probably on the 10th of July, will really wreak havoc on me.
Well, they're happy to be here. They were cheering loudly tonight. Biles and the women's nationals will end on Sunday. Then, of course, the focus shifts to the Olympic trials coming up in a couple of weeks out in California. More coverage on the men's side with Chris Brooks coming up tomorrow. A big day, too, for him here at the men's Olympic trials. In St. Louis, Randy McIlvoy, KPRC Channel 2 Sports.
Thanks, Randy. Looking forward to it. Now, tonight, the Astros made their first trip back to KC since the Royals ended the Astros World Series hopes last season. Out to Kauffman Stadium, where the Royals were a Major League best 25-8 at home. But when George Springer came up for the second time in the first inning, he did this. That's a 4-bagger with 3 on, a grand slam, and it was 9-0 Astros. He tripled earlier in the inning, more than enough for Dallas Keuchel. The Astros win it going away 13-4.
Payback.
Yep. The famed Manning Passing Camp opened today. It features the best college quarterbacks in the country. Houston Cougars QB Greg Ward Jr. is one of them. Manning said he was looking forward to watching him work. Manning also said he's eager to watch Brock Osweiler this season playing for the Texans.
Very happy for Brock. I sent him a text right after that move happened. I'm excited for his opportunity. He's an extremely hard worker, and I know he's excited to be a full-time starter, and he's certainly earned that opportunity. I know Houston is excited to have him, and they should be.
Manning has lots of football trips planned this coming season as a fan.
He's the man, Ning. We'll be right back. Now listen, you're really going to want to stay up for the Tonight Show tonight.
Yeah, not because Bill is hosting, but because J.J. Watt is going to be there with Jimmy Fallon. We should have known this would happen eventually. Texan superstar sent a picture to the Funny Man back in October holding a mug with a picture of Jimmy, or holding, yeah, there he is. A mug of a mug of a mug, I guess. So this is going to be number 99's first appearance on The Tonight Show. Looking sharp, JJ. Lots of ladies staying up to watch you.
That's how you get on the show. Send him a mug with his picture on it.
That's all it takes? All right, somebody give me a mug. Gotta have one.